All right, next up is rounding. Okay, so I've got a little image here just to go over the place values with you. So if you have your decimal point and you're looking at numbers to the right, all right, one place to the right, we call that the tenths. Two places to the right, hundredths. Three places to the right, thousandths. Four places to the right, 10,000ths. Now, there are plenty more after that, but this is probably as far as you're going to need to go. Now, notice at the end of each one of those, THS, right? These are the ths, okay? To the right are the ths. Those are going to be the smaller types of values. Now, to the left of your decimal point, those are going to be your larger values. So these are kind of getting to the whole number type things. So the first one, that's your ones place, then your tens, then your hundreds, then your thousands, then your 10,000s. Now, obviously to the left, these are probably the ones you are much more comfortable with. These are the ones that are going to need a little bit of work. Okay, so let's go over just some rounding rules in general. So I have the number 23.462826. So we're just going to look at rounding that to practice our place values. So to the nearest tenth. So that says I want this to be shown with only one spot to the right of my decimal point. So that means I need to focus on this 4. So I need to know, is that 4 going to stay a 4 or is it going to bump up? All right, well, the rule is 5 or higher, bump it up. Below that, it stays. So you're looking at the one next to it. That's what's going to determine. So it's either going to be 23.4 or it's going to be 23.5. Because next to this is a 6, that means this is going up. So to the nearest tenth, that's going to be 23.5. Okay, now if I'm doing nearest hundredth, now I'm looking at the 6. So I want to know, is that 6 going to stay or is it going to go up to a 7? So my answer is either going to be 23.46 or it's going to be 23.47. What determines that is the number next to the 6. So a 2 would make it stay. So that means we're going to have 23.46. All right, thousandth. So now we're looking at the 2. So I want to know, is that 2 going to stay or is it going to go up to a 3? So my answer will either be 23.462 or 23.463. The number that determines it is the one to the right. So because that's an 8, 5 or higher, that means we're going up. So 23.463. All right, the next is the nearest whole number. Now this whole number, okay, is referring to the ones place. You're not really going to see it say, round to the nearest 1. That's not going to make sense. They're going to talk about whole numbers, or in a lot of times, real life examples. Okay, we're talking about positives. We're talking about, things like population, things where decimals don't really make any sense, okay? Or maybe you're buying, 8 bags of garden seeds, something like that. So real life problems are typically to the one place or to the whole number place. So now I'm looking to the left of my decimal point and we're saying, is that 3 going to stay a 3 or is it going to go up to a 4? So that means we're either looking at 23 or we're looking at 24. The number next to it, so your first one to the right of the decimal, that's going to determine it. So 23 would stay because of the 4. Okay? All right, now here's some common conversions. This is the image that you would have seen with your work through the week, which is just going to help you working with your decimals and your percentages. Some of these may be, like I said, common types of things. You might just know them, all right? These are the ones I'm hoping that you pretty much know, and if you don't, I would say you should study them. These are things that'll just be helpful in daily life, like working with percentages, working with decimals. And if it's not something that you just know, then we're going to use those rules to help us. But otherwise, I would say get to know these, understand what they mean. So when we say half of something, that's the same as saying 0.5. 0.5, that's 50%. So those should all go kind of hand in hand. A third, that's 0.33. That means repeating because your threes just go on forever, okay, which is 33.3 repeating percent. 1/4, so that would be like 0.25, right? Think money. Okay, same thing over here, money, right? Like 50 cents or 25 cents. So that's 25%, a quarter of something. So most of those, I would say, here in this list, most people know. 2/3, 3/4, and 1 would be like 100%. okay? But if it's not something off this list, if it's not something you're just super, super familiar with, this is going to help. So if you have a decimal and you want to change it to a percentage, think about writing your letters, D and P, in alphabetical order. So D comes before P in the alphabet. So as soon as you know you're doing a conversion problem like that, you could put your D and your P. And you say, if I have a decimal and I'm changing it to a percent, then I'm going this way. Okay, D, P. If I have a percent and I'm going to a decimal, then I'm going this way. And that kind of tells you where you're going to move your decimal point. Okay, so that might help you. So decimal to percent, move it right. Percent to decimal, move it left. So if you ever get confused, just write the D and the P, alphabetical order, decimal to percent, percent to decimal. Okay, we're going to try a few on the next couple pages. All right, so we are going to write these as decimals. So I have the percent, and I'm writing it as a decimal. So alphabetical order, D, P. I have percent, I'm going to decimal. So that means we're going to be moving 2 places to the left. Okay, and it's always 2 places. So you're just going to look at where the decimal point is now and then just move it 2 to the left. Now, if you don't see the decimal point, it's automatically assumed to be at the end. Think about money for a second. If I told you $10, you're probably just going to write 10. But if I said write $10 down and make sure that you put a decimal point in there, then you're going to put 10.00, right? That's what it means. So that's the same kind of concept. If I say 90% and I say, well, where's the decimal? I don't see it, but it's at the end. So if it's at the end and I move it 2 to the left, then that's just going to be 0.90. Okay, so we're looking at where the decimal currently is and move it 2 to the left. So 30%, that would be 30.0. So 2 to the left, 0.30. And hopefully these can kind of start to get quick and easy. So 2 to the left, that'll be 1.159. 2 to the left. All right, now this one's weird because it's only 1 digit, but it's at the end right now. So if I move it 2 to the left, I've got to go 1 more. So this is what we call like a placeholder. So that's going to be 0.09. You have to move 2 spots even if there's only 1 digit there, which means you fill in the 0. So 7%, that's going to be 0.07. All right, 65%, so that's 0.65. 0.3%, I see the decimal. I'm going 2 to the left, fill in a placeholder, so 0.003. 445%. Okay, so not a percentage we typically hear, but I can do the same thing. All right, it's at the end, 2 to the left, so it's 4.45. All right, so now we're going the other way. So we have decimals, and we're going to put them into percents. So again, alphabetical order, D, P. I have a decimal. I want a percent. So that means I'm going to the right. And I'm going to have to move this 2 places to the right. So 2 to the right. Okay, so where it is right now, 2 to the right. So 2 spots, that's going to be 45.2%. 2 to the right, so that's 0.6%. 2 to the right, 0.2%. 2 to the right, technically I don't need to put it because it's at the end, so 5%. 2 to the right, 478%. 2 to the right, fill in your placeholder. So technically this would be 0, 1, 0, but think about like that one, right? I didn't keep those zeros there. So this is just 10%. All right, 3.63, so 2 to the right, 363%. 0.03, 2 to the right, 3%. Okay, and for a lot of people, those are things that you've dealt with in the past, so hopefully those will be kind of quick and easy. Deals a lot with money. All right, fractions are where everybody kind of starts to get scared. Okay, now, if it is a fraction and it's one of those common ones that you've worked with, that might be a little bit easier for you. But we tend to get frightened when we're looking at things that aren't as common, okay? Think about if I'm taking a decimal or a percentage and I want to change it to a fraction, okay? The easiest is to get it to be a percentage first, and then after you get it to be the percentage, get it to be the fraction, okay? Because think about percentages. Every percentage that we do is out of 100%, right? 100% would be like a perfect score. So what you're going to do is represent, well, what is this out of 100? So 25%, we're saying that's 25 out of 100. And now it's a fraction, right? It should be actually really, really simple to do. Now, most of the time, though, you're going to write it as a fraction, but then directions are probably going to want you to reduce it. So you can reduce the fraction, okay? Now, let's first just go through writing them out, and then on the next piece, I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at reducing the fractions. But first, let's just get in the habit of doing this, okay? So this is 70%, so that's going to be 70 out of 100. 93%, so 93 over 100. 58%, so 58 out of 100. 50%, so that's 50 over 100. 66.6 repeating, that one's a little tricky, okay? But I could still say it's 66.6 repeating out of 100. 20%, so that's 20 out of 100. 80 over 100. 71 over 100. And 30 over 100. Okay, those should be pretty quick and easy. All right, I'm going to pause this one, hop on to the next video for reducing.